Hello, Miss Aldridge here. I'm going to talk to you today about how to use the 123 Revision website and how to use the section on history in particular. Now, revision is really important for history to make sure you know exam content and you know how to actually answer exam questions. So the first part, as you go to the history page, looks like this. You've got three sections: knowledge, topic practice and exam practice. Now these three sections all go through different activities, they have resources, and they're to give you ideas on how to revise well and what it is that you need to be doing for history revision. This should be your first port of call for resources, for trying to think about how you're going to revise for history. If we go to the first section, knowledge. Now here I've suggested three ways that you can work out what knowledge you have and how to really think about improving your knowledge. Now this is really tricky to do because lots of different people will have different areas that they are more knowledgeable in. Some people will have really worked well through the medicine topic and retained lots of information, whereas other people perhaps won't have retained that information and will need to go over different things. So it might be that someone's really good on dates but someone else is really good on key individuals. So it's about going through and checking what knowledge you have. The first place I've put there is to use your book or a revision guide, creating timelines. These are really useful when we come to look at medicine and Germany in particular. In the Cold War they can be useful as well, but you might want to section off different areas for the timeline because the detail you need is a little bit heavier there. The same thing, but instead of doing a timeline all the way through, perhaps going through a storyboard and thinking about particular elements that you want to look at in your storyboard. There is a resource if you click onto the storyboard that should open out to a template that you can then use for that. The last thing is to think about key events. And again, this is really useful for the Cold War section. So to have a look at superpower relations and the Cold War. 6 steps for each key event really helps you with one of the exam questions. So it can be really useful to do this. Section 2 looks at topic practice. So rather than thinking of generic overviews, we're now starting to think about a bit more detailed practice. I've added some RAG rating sheets. Now these are kind of checklists that go through all of the topics for each of your subjects, each of your modules. You can go through and you can use these as a checklist of things that you've looked at. You can also use them as I put there for that RAG rating. So red would be you just can't remember anything that you need. Amber, you have some knowledge, but you're struggling to remember everything you need about that. And green is that you are exam ready. You know that topic really well, and any type of question that comes up for it, you would be ready. I've put their focus on the red areas. Those are the areas that you can't remember anything about. So those are the quickest ways to make big wins. Remembering something about something you knew nothing about before obviously improves the rate that you remember things and really makes you focus on bigger steps of improvement. The second thing here I've put is mind maps. There is some guidance if you want to click on to use that about how to use a mind map. And in particular, what I've said is that you shouldn't just make a mind map look really beautiful. Don't think about the way it's designed and that you're going to, make this a almost artistic piece of work that you're going to put on the wall. Instead, think about what it is that you need to know about a subject. So write a mind map, and it might be that you write out 4 things that you remember from it, but actually there's 8 things about that particular topic. In that case, add perhaps in a different colour the 4 things that you didn't know that time, and then try it again a couple of days later and go back over what you can remember. Can you now remember those things that you did in the other colour? Have you improved your skill and your knowledge? Mind maps don't need to be huge. They can be about small things, or you can try and do them as overview guides as well. You might do them about key people and add as many people as you can. You might use particular focus on events themselves and try and remember as many steps around that event as you can. The last part of this is exam practice. Now, we've got videos for how to pass each exam paper that you can watch, and they go through each question. They talk about how to deal with the question in terms of content, how to deal with the question in terms of structure, timing, and they give detailed overview. They're what we've done in class sometimes as a walking, talking mock. They give you advice on what to do for each question. These are really, really good to help you get started, to get you to think about what it is that the examiner is looking for when they're marking your paper. The second one is the exam question checklist. So think about what you know about how to answer each question. And it might be worth watching the video and then using the exam checklist as a way to to see how you are getting on and whether you've got these right. There's a completed version with it, so you can mark yourself through this as well and check whether you have been correct. The last thing is some exam questions. Now there are 2 exam question papers attached here for each module, so if you click on that link there, you can then go through actual exam questions and have a go. The best thing to do is to have a look at them, perhaps try and find the mark scheme, but the best place really is to go back to your teacher and ask them to review your exam questions and see how they think you've got on. So, just to recap for you, it's 123revision.com. History isn't on the main part at the top, so you have to click More, which has 3 dots next to it, and then go down to History and then click from there. Any questions, please go to your history teacher as your first port of call, or give us an email. We'd be happy to help you out. We just want you to do well.